This show is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as legal advice. Always consult an attorney for legal advice. Views expressed by guests of the radio show are individual opinions and not endorsed by Maitri.
Maitri does not endorse any businesses, including but not limited to legal attorneys, financial advisors, and tax consultants that may be advertised before or after the show. Listeners are advised to use their own discretion.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Maitri Show Between Friends. In this show, we will be talking about different issues related to intimate partner violence, family violence and abuse, gender-based violence, and power dynamics in relationships. The goal of our show is to engage our community members in addressing and challenging those harmful social and cultural conditions, norms that make intimate partner violence, family violence and abuse, and other gender-based violence acceptable. We believe our show Between Friends will mobilize our community in ending victim blaming and preventing violence and abuse in partner and familial relationships. In each episode, we will be providing insights and resources that will not only help victims and survivors, but also educate our community members about these issues. These resources and that are available in the community so that they can help someone in need. Tune in every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. on Radio Zindagi to listen to the Maitri Show Between Friends. You can also find all episodes of Maitri's Between Friends on our website, Maitri Bay Area Facebook page, and on SoundCloud. You can email your suggestions and feedback to us at maitri@maitri.org. Together, we can end domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and gender-based violence.
अगर आप या कोई और जिसे आप जानते हैं जो घरेलू और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस से गुजर रहे हैं, कृपया मैत्री से संपर्क करें। मैत्री की सेवाएं बिल्कुल मुफ्त और विश्वसनीय हैं। हमारी सेवाएं हिंदी, पंजाबी, मराठी, गुजराती और अन्य दक्षिण एशियाई भाषाओं में उपलब्ध हैं। You can call us Monday to Friday 9 to 3 p.m. on 188-862-4874. For after hours, leave voicemail in your language. You can also email us at maitri, maitri@maitri.org.
Hello everyone, today I am your host Nandini Ray, welcoming you all to the Maitri Show Between Friends. In today's episode, we will be addressing some cultural norms and social conditions that can be damaging for individual, family and community well-being. To discuss this profound subject, we have three high school teens at our studio today, Alisha, Isha and Yash. I'm extremely excited to have them in our show today. All three of them were the speakers at the Maitri Teen Convention in February, and I was there as an audience. So while I was listening to their powerful speeches, I was thinking, oh my God, we have so much hope in our community. Today's teens are so thoughtful and so courageous. They're not scared of acknowledging that we have flaws all around us and we need to mend these flaws to have a just society. They're willing to stand up against societal injustice. We adults sometimes, or many times maybe, we are reluctant to talk about the dark sides of our community. We don't discuss domestic violence, child abuse, teen pregnancy, violence against women, sexual assault, gender inequality, and we pretend we don't have these problems in our community. But teens and young adults, they are not scared about talking about these issues. They prefer to be upstanders rather than just being a bystander. While working with teens, I have realized one thing, that if we really want to break harmful social conditions, if we really want to build a society where all relationships are built on equity, dignity, and compassion, then we must work with the youth population. We need to work with them in partnership. We need to bring them at the same table to discuss things that matters to the community, that are harmful for our community. So welcoming you, Alisha, Yash, and Isha. I want you to introduce yourself to our audience. Say a few words about you.
Hi, my name is Isha. I'm a sophomore in high school. My two biggest passions are dancing and doing speech and debate. I debate on the national circuit, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Isha.
Hi, my name is Yash. I'm 15 years old, and my main passions are I'm into motivational speaking and creating an impact on the world through social media.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Alisha Gupta. I'm a senior at St. Francis High School. I'm also a company dancer at Monacon Company, and one of my biggest passions is social entrepreneurship, and I recently have founded my own nonprofit, Needed But Forgotten, to help make the community better.
Thank you, Alisha. I'm so excited to do this show with you guys. So let's start with a simple question, like just a warm-up question. Tell us something that you like about the culture of your ancestors, your culture of origin, and something you like about the Western culture. Is there anything you don't like about South Asian culture? I can start with this question because I remember at one of our teen workshops, when we were discussing this question, just two teens came up to me and they told me that, I can talk about the liking part, what I like about these two cultures, but I don't want to touch disliking part, that if I say that I don't like this thing from my culture of origin, my family will not be happy, my parents will not be happy. So I don't want to put any pressure on you. I just want to share my preference that I'm Indian, South Asian culture. And I love color, food, and family bonding in my culture. When I came here to this country as an immigrant, I missed that, where is the color, the aroma of food, South Asian food, and family bonding, family support. About Western culture, I love the value of individual and independence, freedom, and I feel that is lacking in South Asian culture. But that is my personal opinion. I would like to hear from you.
I think touching upon that family aspect, that's definitely something that I value so much in South Asian culture. Both my parents have really brought me up to say that family does come first. And my family is really big, and we have these big family gatherings and Christmas or Thanksgiving. And that's just something that I'll cherish forever. But kind of to touch upon what I don't like about South Asian culture, it's not so much what I don't like, but it's so much how South Asian culture is stereotyped. So going to a Catholic school, I'm very used to these stereotypes, and it sometimes makes you want to doubt your origins, makes you want to doubt your heritage. So, for example, in class, I think a year ago, I was asked if I was fed math problems for breakfast and if I smell like curry or my perfume was curry. And it's just stereotypes like this that can really be harming to your self-esteem, but also make you want to kind of separate yourself from your culture. And I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed in teen community, that these stereotypes aren't true. But the Bay Area teens, especially South Asian Bay Area teens, do a really good job of trying to break those stereotypes.
Another thing that I'm not particularly a fan for South Asian culture is the lack of acceptance for a difference in opinion. Like, it's very hard to have a different opinion than your entire family and not be reprimanded for it. And we don't, this is not really talked about that much, but it is a big problem because compared to Western culture, Western culture is very accepting of different opinions and of individuality, which isn't really shown in South Asian culture.
Okay, and what do you like about South Asian culture?
For South Asian culture, I love how again, like Alisha was saying, I love family. For me personally, family is super important. My grandparents live with us. My entire extended family, we are super close with them. We're always our family is not just my parents and my sister, but it's also my extended family, my aunt, uncle, cousins, which I really like. And I don't see that in Western culture as much. My friends who are not Indian or of South Asian culture, they don't really have that close a bond with their family as South Asians do.
Many South Asian teens think that there is a barrier between their generation and the generation of their parents. I remember one time a teen told me that I respect and love my parents and I know that they love me more than anything in the world, but they don't see the challenges I face outside home. She also told me that for her and for her many friends, there is a constant dilemma that if they are not adhered to the cultural expectations, then they will be seen as deviant. They will end up hurting their family members as well as community, the larger community. So do you think that many teens fear that? Do you think that our community has established some rigid cultural expectations for our teens? And if they don't follow that, and then they will be seen as deviant?
My mom, actually, she grew up all over the world. So she was born in India, then she moved to Kuwait and then London and then to the United States for college. And I think that gives her a really diverse perspective, which I have been fortunate enough to be blessed with. So she's the most understanding when it comes to there are different cultural norms and there are different societies and we are brought up in different ways. So I was brought up in a very open-minded, times are changing type mindset. So this question is hard to answer from my own perspective. However, I do know a lot of my friends going to high schools in Cupertino in the Bay Area close to me that do face this kind of like separation between their parents because of the harsh expectations. And I think the harsh expectations actually make them more deviant from their parents. So when you see kind of a forceful nature, like your parents saying that you have to get only A's or that you cannot go out with your friends until every homework is done, I think that balance of social life and studying and family time is offset, and that actually causes children to become more rebellious. I think that's just in a human nature. And I see that as kind of a downside because if only we kind of got through that barrier of understanding, then I think children's lives could be a lot healthier and you're going to see like greater mental health and you're going to see more understanding and accepting of cultural norms.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Alisha. I personally can't I don't have any personal experience of this because my parents are also very open to different cultures. However, I can see this a lot with my friends. Like an example is one of my friends, her parents want her to dress very modest. So when she comes to school, she'll be like wearing like 2 jackets and like jeans. And then she'll come to school and take off both of those jackets. Obviously, her parents don't know of this. And like, so how she presents herself at school is very different from how she presents herself at home. And there's like this huge gap because her parents don't really know how she actually is. And I think that just shows that like parents have very like high expectations of their kids. And because of that, their kids can't really talk to their parents about who they are as a person because they're scared of like that it'll make their parents upset or it'll be defiant towards their parents.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, in my opinion, communication is the number one thing that any relationship needs. And when it comes to parents understanding their children, I feel like it's really important for each person as being a parental figure and a child to understand that you both are going to have to compromise. You both are going to have to understand each other. And the number one thing that parents do, that the reason why relationships don't work out and the reason why parents don't know about their teenagers or their childs until they're out of college is parents should know who their child is and what image and who they are as a person. And to know that, they have to be willing to understand their child, understand what they're feeling, who they are as a person, and how they want to be seen in society. Forcing values on your child is only until they're 5 or 6 years old. After that, your child starts building up, and now they're starting to turn into their own person. So whatever's done is done. And I feel like that's hard for parents to realize that they're not going to be able to not force, but instill some values that they still want to put in their children. But the time to do that was for only a couple years. Now they just have to help them grow instead of trying to show them how to grow.
Yeah, that's on point.
I think that every high schooler is going to have stress. Every high schooler is going to have to be facing their own moral values versus their parents. It's not just a South Asian thing. However, I think the problem here, or one of the biggest problems, is the taboo against mental health. And as Isha was saying also about like clothing and modest wear. But on mental health in particular, I think that's where a lot of South Asian parents don't really believe it's a thing, and that could be its biggest detriment. And so again, like communication, really opening up and understanding like there are methods to help a child who is feeling stressed. That's going to be a really big breakthrough to getting that understanding and helping your child survive through tough times.
You guys are so right. Sometimes, as I'm a South Asian parent, I have teen children. And I sometimes debate that, I see some South Asian parents, they are always bragging about their children's grade, their success. And it's kind of a peer pressure. I feel sometimes South Asian parents, they feel peer pressure that, oh, my friend's child is going to Yale or, having a great job. And maybe that parent is not understanding that specific child, their children, they are not even interested to go to Yale. Maybe they want to dance or they want to do something different.
Yeah, and touching on that point, I feel like the one misconception everybody has is that college is what success is. I mean, one thing I heard from a person, I'm going to ask Alisha this, I'm going to put Alisha on point and Isha. If somebody was to give you $10 million right now, but not let you invest it, not let you use it in any way, is it worthless to you? If you couldn't do anything with the 10 mil, but you were given $10 million.
If I can't do anything, like ever with this money, then why would I
There's
get
no
the
value.
money?
There's no value in it.
I don't think so.
There's no value.
There's no value in it. And I feel like that's what people get confused when it comes to college. They feel like if my child goes to college, then when your child goes to, there's so many skills and like life skills that you have to put in your child. Because your child going to the best university, going to Stanford, Harvard, it doesn't set them up for success. If they don't know some of the principles that need to lead them to success, then there's no point. It's like somebody giving you 10 mil but not letting you do anything with it for your entire life. It has no value. So if your child doesn't learn the skills and principles that they need to know before going, then what does really a Stanford degree have to do for them?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. As a senior, I just finished the college process. And what I realized is that every college is good. And I truly believe that wherever you go is for the best. And going through that college process just made me realize that we don't need an Ivy brand, that most South Asian parents will kind of push for, because it's really whatever is suited best for your child. And that's only going to come through experience. That's going to come through knowing who you are and knowing what you want in life and hard work in the end. And kind of going back to my high school experience as well, I think, in my middle school, I was really pushed towards a private school, and that's the main reason I chose St. Francis as a Catholic school. But looking back at it, I'm thinking that all of these schools in the Bay Area are just equally as good. They provide you the same information. It's really what you do with the education and what you do with the opportunity that makes the difference, not exactly where you go. Of course, it's going to help, but it's you as a person that's going to take you all the way.
I have to touch on that. That's actually what you said there, Alisha, makes a lot of sense. Because regardless of whether I go to Stanford or I go to UCLA, right? It's obviously that Stanford is better, but math is going to stay math. People always say I have to send my child to the private school, I have to send my child to the best school in the district, right? Whatever school is going to release the most, Ivy League students. Math is math, science is science, social studies is social studies. What Stanford teaches me, 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. If Stanford teaches me that or UCLA teaches me that, it's the same answer. 4 is the answer. And I feel like for most parents, it's important to realize that your child's education matters on how hard they're willing to work. Subjects are the same. If you're going to take a course on business in some school or on medical or on anything like that, the concepts are the same. Sure, the teaching may be different. But going to a school that's way better or way more expensive doesn't make your child smarter for sure. It probably just adds more stress onto them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Yash and Alisha, and I think one of the big reasons why South Asian parents want us to go to like Stanford rather than UCLA is because of the competitive nature of South Asian culture. Like, South Asians are very competitive, and like, you will see parents saying, oh, my kid got into XYZ college, and my kid got into this college, right? And we can see that competitive nature, even if it's not like directly said, like explicitly said, it's there. So like a kid going to Stanford, like saying your kid went to Stanford sounds much better than saying your kid is going to UCLA.
I think as parent, I can only say that we should focus on the happiness of our children. If they're happy, if they're on the right paths, first know that is your child happy? Because I remember at one of our teen workshops, a couple of teens told us that as we get older, everything is up for comparison. The amount of money we make, the career we embark on, the lives we show to the world on social media, and even the ones we love. The expectations are always rising and we are never enough. So that's enormous pressure on them. They're always balancing between two different cultural value systems, and it can be hard for them to add extra layers of tension and, stress. Speaking of which, do you think South Asian teens always have to balance between two different cultural value systems? Do you see cultural conflicts between generations?
I think this goes back to something that I was saying earlier, is that every teenager is going to have to balance between two value systems, and that's going to be what their parents give you and your own value system. And your own value system is going to come from the experiences and the people that you're around, and whether that's kind of this American culture, Caucasian culture, or if it's any other group that you're around, it's going to be you and your values from your experience that you've gone through versus whatever values that your parents have given you. And I think to a certain point, you just have to balance the two and trust your gut. You can only take so much that you've learned from your parents and know that they're doing everything in their best ability to teach you the right way, but also trust your heart and know that you have to do what you have to do.
And what ends up happening is we are what culture we are raised in, right? The hardest part, I feel like, and this is in general, because in any other, I don't usually like saying a specific race, but it is in South Asian races, is we're trying to teach our children to be a certain way. And it's completely polar opposite to what we are at school, what this country is about. Let's face it, America, the US, in this country, everybody's equal. Everybody's thoughts and ideas are accepted. In South Asian communities, we were taught we have to dress a certain way, we have to act a certain way, we have to say certain things, we have to do certain things. And it's not the hardest part for, I feel like, kids here, and the reason why kids go in depression, the reason why their mental health is not okay, the reason why they hate school and hate life is because they're being taught something else at home to do what their parents' expectations are, but then their heart is somewhere else.
Wonderful. I'm learning so many things from you today. And, I'm a parent. I have children. Books I read, the television shows I watch, and I always talk to people to find out information, teens and adults both, especially from our immigrant cultures, to find out that what is going wrong, that our teens, youth community and adult community, they are seeing barriers between them. They are not very open. Like many of our friends, of my friends, they are very reluctant to talk to their children about dating. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and she was telling me that, oh, my daughter is only 15 plus, and why should I talk about dating to her? She is a child. And I was thinking that the day before I came to know a 15-year-old got pregnant by her boyfriend, and she was so scared. And she was so scared that she was not saying anything to her parents, and she was suffering tremendous agony, and she was clueless what to do. And if we, South Asian parents, we have this kind of mentality that, 15-year-old, at my age, I didn't date, I didn't know anything about dating. So 15-year-old, my child doesn't know anything about dating. I'm not saying that you should ask your 15-year-old to have a date, but at least tell her or tell him that if you are dating and if that relationship is abusive, then what kind of consequences that child can face. Information can always save someone's life. Knowing that if he or she or they are willing to walk on that path, it's okay. But without discussing this thing with our children, without hushing everything, are we helping our children? I don't think so. And if we have a barrier between us and our children, then we won't be able to understand their problem, and they won't be able to understand our problem and our limitations maybe. And then we will go far away from each other. We will go opposite direction. Then everything will be difficult, right? So what do you think? What is your opinion on this?
I definitely agree. I think that because of these cultural expectations that South Asian parents have, it's very hard for teenagers to trust their parents and be able to talk to them openly about their life outside of what happens in their house. I actually have an example of this. I know someone at my school who she's Indian, and she barely talks to her parents, and she parties a lot. She goes to a lot of parties. So a few weeks ago, she went to this party and she got really drunk, but she couldn't tell her parents to come pick her up. So she drove and she totaled her car.
Oh my God.
Now it's 3 a.m. She totaled her car. Her parents have no idea. They think that she's sleeping over because they were studying or something. And she doesn't know what to do. She calls me and she's like, Isha, what do I do? And I'm like, you have to call your parents. There's no other way. Like, there's nothing else you can do. And she called her parents, and of course her parents were mad, but that opened up the discussion that she was able to have with her parents, and it allowed her to be more open with her parents. Her parents did obviously get mad, but that incident opened up an avenue for her to be able to start talking to her parents. And now I know that her and her parents are much closer, and there's a bigger trust level, which means that like she's not going out rebelling all the time, right? Because there is that communication happening.
Yes, I'm really learning from you today. I am learning that how important it is to have open communication with our children. I believe that who are listening to today's show, whether they are parents, their family, adult family members, and teens, they will know that the open communication is important. And if we are scared of each other, if we are keeping distance from each other, it's not helping any of us. So it is better to talk to each other to find out solution of any problem we are seeing. It is important to find the solution together.
For any South Asian parents out there, or even the teens, I read an amazing book called The Namesake by Jimtha Lahiri. And this book basically opens you up to the cultural divide between parents of South Asian background and teens. And so we see this male basically grow up in life in India and then move to United States and kind of disavow everything that his parents have taught him. But in the end come to the realization, both of them, the parents and the child, that they need to be more open with each other. And I think this book is a great starter for any parents or teens that are willing to get that communication back on the road and actually pinpoint where there are breaks in communication, to kind of establish that relationship even better.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I don't think that all of the expectations that South Asian parents have on their children are bad. In no way do I think that.
Oh, I feel so good.
I just think that there needs to be more communication between the parent and the child, and there needs to be a mutual understanding and a mutual respect between the two.
Oh, great. Yash, you want to add anything?
Yeah, my number one thing that whenever I talk to parents or anybody was learn how to be a friend before you become a parent. I feel like becoming a friend to your child is the number one thing that, the number one gift you can give to your child. Before you become a parent, learn how to be a friend to them. Don't expect your teen to open up to you. Don't expect your teen to tell you about their life if you're not a friend to them. You being a controlling parental figure in their life, that's required. But you need to learn how to be a friend first. And in my opinion, positivity and kindness that you give to that child, showing them that I'm here for you, I'm in support, giving them that assurance opens up so much more. If you don't give that assurance to them, they're going to hide things. They're not going to want to talk to you. That barrier is always going to be there. But it starts from now. It doesn't matter what age they are right now, whether they're teenagers, they're just born. If you spend time with them, whether they flunk a test, get in trouble at school, tell them, it's okay, let's go out to eat, figuring out a way to become their friend. Because once you become a friend of your teen, you're done. They're going to open up to you. They're going to be there because they're going to realize, regardless, I may be in a bit of trouble, but I know this is a supporting, and it's important for your teenager to know that you're the backbone. You're there for, because the fact is, if your teenager is in jail, going in a court case right now, has done something terrible, you're behind them regardless.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to this. Like, my mom is basically my best friend. And, like, I can tell her anything. There's nothing about my life that she doesn't know, which also means that, like, I respect her so much more and I follow her rules so much more because she also respects me and she respects, like, what I like and who I am.
Kind of going off of what Yash said, a friend isn't only someone that, like, feeds you compliments. A friend also tries to guide you to the right path. And I think that's super important once you learn how to balance that. I'm going to guide you to the right path, but I'm also going to be supportive and always have your back so we can open up. I think that's where you get those perfect relationships between your child and a parent.
And one thing, I have one of my best friends named Rochelle Awua. She's like a mother to me because of the way when I say she's like a mother to me, when I look at my mother and Rochelle, there's pretty much no difference. Obviously, there's difference in the fact that, I spend more time with my actual mom, but she treats me like her brother, and a friend is not somebody, when I say this, a friend is not somebody who condones with wrong stuff. A friend is somebody who helps you get out of those wrong stuff. A friend is somebody who doesn't yell, doesn't scream at you, but shows you the concept of, this is wrong, let's change, and I'm here with you every step of the way. And once you give that assurance to somebody, anybody, how do people make money online? How do people sell any product online? When they give that assurance to somebody that, this product is going to help change your life. This product is going to walk you step by step. So when you give that assurance to your child that I'm here with you step by step, wrong, good, bad, ugly, I'm here for you, they know that regardless of what they've done, you're there for them. And then they'll open up to you.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that we are doing this show with you guys. And I'm learning so many things. Listeners, if you have joined us late, please find this show in the podcast, because you must not miss this show. If you can go back to the podcast Between Friends, Conversation with Maitri, and find this episode where we are talking with 3 teens, high school teens, and they have so many suggestions, so many tips for us adult parents, how we can make our relationship with our children a good relationship, a fruitful relationship, so that all of us can trust each other and all of us can get benefit from this relationship. Right now, I would like to take a break and we will come back within few seconds. Don't go anywhere.
अगर आप या कोई और जिसे आप जानते हैं जो घरेलू और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस से गुजर रहे हैं, कृपया मैत्री से संपर्क करें। मैत्री की सेवाएं बिल्कुल मुफ्त और विश्वसनीय हैं। हमारी सेवाएं हिंदी, पंजाबी, मराठी, गुजराती और अन्य दक्षिण एशियाई भाषाओं में उपलब्ध हैं। You can call us Monday to Friday 9 to 3 p.m. on 188-862-4874 for after hours leave voicemail in your language. You can also email us at maitri, maitri@maitri.org.
So what I'm hearing from you today, that is very important to have open communication between parents and children, so that we parents and children, we both can understand each other. We both can understand each other's limitation, expectation, and we can do whatever is right for all of us. sometimes as a parent, I feel that we don't understand our children, the kind of pressure, the kind of intense challenges our children face outside world, because we are like, for me, I can talk about me. I was born and raised in India, and when I came here, I was almost 26 years old. So I have impression of teenage impression, whatever is in my mind, that is from India. So I, without knowing that maybe my child is facing a different world, different challenges outside, maybe I sometimes put unrealistic expectation. Though I am learning a lot. Every day I'm learning from my children, from teens like you. But still, I don't know whether I'm doing right or not. I was reading an article and I was seeing that suicide rate for South Asian teens are so high. And as a community, as family members, what can we do to reduce the tension that teens face? Is it because of that tension South Asian teens are taking their lives, or they're feeling anxiety, depression? What do you think?
It was Mental Health Week, National Mental Health Week, and I saw an ad, and it was an Indian actress, and she basically said that she had depression when she was 13, and luckily for her, she was able to open up about it and get a cure, and she was on antidepressants, and it really helped. And I thought that was the best ad I've ever seen, because here we have a South Asian figure that's actually opening up about mental health. And that's not something we get very often. In fact, one of my really close friends, she's really sad all the time. And I don't want to diagnose her myself with anything, but I've often told her that, look, you need to tell your parents what's going on so you can get help. And her only response to me was, I tried telling my parents, and they said if I go to a psychiatrist or a clinic, our reputation will be hurt. And I thought that was astounding, because it's reputation of this like perfect South Asian background, and this is how South Asians need to be, and we need to be strong, and we can't face mental health. We need to be smart, versus actually getting the help their daughter needed. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is what are we valuing more? And that's stopping a lot of children from opening up and getting the help they need.
What people will say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like the concept, of suicide and hurting yourself, it's too late when they're about to do it. A lot of South Asian parents think that when they're on the phone with their child and their child is saying goodbye or saying, this is what's happened and now I'm taking this action, that's not the time to make the change. The change happens before the action's done. So for you to prevent your child from doing that, it's really, it always comes down to your communication. It always comes down to you being open with your child and understanding their emotions and realizing that they are who they are. If they're facing a certain thing, you need to learn how to help them. And you need to invest that time in sending them to a therapist, sending them to a counselor, and none of that works. But you as a parent realizing that, okay, whatever issue your teenager is dealing with, you finding a solution, walking them through and just understanding their emotions. For some people, that's enough. For some teenagers, it's really that much. If you just sat with them for 1 hour and talked to them about their emotions, that's all they need. Doesn't require a lot of money. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on counseling, therapy, and all this stuff. But if you just sat with them and talked to them, that could change their life.
I definitely agree with that. More often than not, South Asian teens, they just need some support from their parents and their loved ones to not want to do something drastic like taking their life away. I have an example of this. Someone at my school, her parents are very religious, very traditional. And she's not straight. She's bisexual. So she had a girlfriend and her parents found out. Her parents almost disowned her. They did not want to talk to her. They completely shut her out, like completely. And they sent her to those camps where they try to, quotes, fix you. That ended up resulting in her taking her life.
Oh God, so sad to hear
that happened a year ago. And after the fact, her parents come out and say that, and they have so much guilt, right? Because they know that if they were just open with their child and if they just gave her some support, something like that would have never happened.
It's really heartbreaking. I hope that people who know that their children need help in mental health support, mental health counseling, they should consider that without thinking what people will say, without thinking what community will say. They should put their children's lives in front of everything. And I think one day we will see a different world. But right now we have a lot more to do. I'm glad that you are sharing your pain, your concern here so that people like me learn from you. Do you want to add anything else, Alisha?
The only thing is I agree with both what Yash and Isha said. I do think that at times clinics can help. I know a few of my friends who are in clinics, and if that relationship, especially with your parents, isn't there, that is a good alternative. However, I do think the first step is opening up to your parents. And I think that can solve a lot of the problems that are occurring. And so that would be like the first thing to go to is just talk it out with your parents because they made you, they know you best. And that's going to be a really big breakthrough in terms of like communication and mental health.
We definitely need to talk a lot as a community. I'm saying that we definitely need to talk about these issues so that we learn from each other's mistake. We see gender inequality all around us, which often leads to gender violence and abuse. It's my personal viewpoint that I know that gender inequality is actually leading to gender violence and abuse. Do you think so? And do you see gender inequality in your surroundings that bothers you? Have you ever felt discriminated because of your gender?
I think when I like to talk about gender inequality, I like to start with feminism. I think feminism has been really misconstrued in today's day and age, in which a lot of people think of it as a negative connotation, when in fact it's really just fighting for equality. Actually, I have recently witnessed some sort of gender inequality. I was applying to a job. It was around an internship. It was around 40 applicants from a bunch of schools in the Bay Area. And then top 5 get selected for an interview, in-person interview, in which only 2 will get selected for the final roles. In that top 5, I was the only girl.
Oh, God.
Now, I got a lot of mixed responses with this being the case when I reached the interview. One male came up to me and said, "You're definitely going to get the job." And at first I was like, "Oh, thank you. Like, why do you think that?" And he goes, "You're female. They're just going to give it to you because they want diversity." And I took offense to this because they should be giving it to me because I'm equally qualified. And if not, then don't give me the position, right? I think we need to be measured on an equal level, not solely because I'm a female and that should put me in either a disadvantage or an advantage. And another response I got was that, "I don't know why you're here. You definitely can't do this job." It was a STEM-based job. It was about finance. And that's, I think, a lot, the response that we usually hear is that because we're a certain gender, we have these certain abilities or disabilities that we can or cannot do, and that somehow defines us. But I think that's just blatantly wrong, and everyone needs to get the concept of like genders stick to a certain role out of their head and really accept that females, males alike can do amazing things and can do equal things, and that needs to be treated on the same level.
Yeah, they deserve same respect. Yeah, you're right.
I feel like it's really all about knowing that, I mean, if you're facing gender inequality or if you're facing, as a result of your gender discrimination, I feel like it's all about really pushing through it, because regardless of what anybody says, gender inequality, sadly, is never going to be completely gone. It's always going to be part of this world. There are always going to be people out there who think women are less than men, or men should be doing certain jobs and women should be doing certain things. And it's always going to be part of life. In my opinion, if you're facing it, push through. And if you ever see this, the best way to try to as much as you can eliminate, right, gender inequality and get rid of it, is to stand up for it when you see it. To stand up for yourself when you see it. It may be awkward, it may be hard, but it really is calling somebody out on it, saying that this is not okay, right? Why is it that because I'm a female, or why is it that if I'm a male I can't babysit for, it's really calling it out. Because the more people call it out, the more people who think it's okay for them to express this opinion, they start feeling more insecure about it and they start stopping.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Yash, but along with calling it out, I think it's important to support others to help them gain the courage to call things out, because oftentimes many women, for example, are scared to come out because they're scared to stand up to gender discrimination because they're scared they'll lose their job. They're scared that if they do something, then something bad will happen to them, or they will end up being publicly humiliated. And I think that we as a community need to start supporting each other so that it'll be easier for women to come up and stand up to gender discrimination that is happening.
Wonderful. A last question, I really want to know that what is one message you would like to give to all parents to improve their relationship with their children?
I think the biggest thing is realization that we grew up in a different society and times have changed, which means our experience have changed. With that is going to come different knowledge, different culture, different values. It's going to be that affirmative messaging, which means I'm in support of what you're going through so you can open up to me, but I will guide you the right way. And that's going to help build a bridge between the parent and the child.
Yeah, my one message to any parent out there is be a friend. Be a friend to your child. Open up to your child. Explain them the failures you've faced in your life. Show them the experiences you've had in your life and how you were in the same position they were in. Just be their friend, because friendship never hurts. When you're there for them, everything will go well once you get your child to realize that you're there for them.
My one message would be prioritize your child's happiness. Nothing is more important than your child being happy with where they are in life. And of course, parents want what's best for their child, but more than that, parents need to think about the fact that are they happy with where they are? Are their children happy? And I think that precedes any type of doing well, any type of success that their child might be having at the time.
Thank you, Alisha, Isha, and Yash, for coming to our studio and sharing your thoughts with our listeners. I know this is a very difficult subject, and I appreciate that all of you spoke from your heart. So, listeners, from our discussion today, as a South Asian parent, I am taking this message from this teen guest that is we need to place a greater emphasis on safety and happiness of our children before anything else, before our family reputation and community expectations. It is very important to have open communication between parents and children, and we need to remember that we are unique individuals. Our children are not our clones or puppet. Our expectations from life and our interests can be different. It is important to have mutual respect, understanding, and friendship between parents and children. I hope all parents out there who are listening today our show will take this message from our teen guest with them. And I'm sure we will be doing this kind of show again and again, bringing all adult community members and youth community members on the same platform to discuss these kind of important issues that matter to all of us. Thank you so much for being with us.
अगर आप या कोई और जिसे आप जानते हैं जो घरेलू और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस से गुजर रहे हैं, कृपया मैत्री से संपर्क करें। मैत्री की सेवाएं बिल्कुल मुफ्त और विश्वसनीय हैं। हमारी सेवाएं हिंदी, पंजाबी, मराठी, गुजराती और अन्य दक्षिण एशियाई भाषाओं में उपलब्ध हैं। You can call us Monday to Friday 9 to 3 p.m. on 188-862-4874. For after hours, leave voicemail in your language. You can also email us at maitri, maitri@maitri.org.
The Maitri helpline number is 1-888-8-MAITRI or 1-888-866